Hey crafty cuties, welcome back to Paper Terrace. If you're new, I would love for you to leave me a comment down below. If this is the first video of mine that you have watched, well then welcome. And if you are here because you like mask making, like different junk journal ephemera items, or mask making paper crafts for craft fairs, I also think that you will like this video as well. Today I am working on mass making these fun color changing cards. I've been showing these for like the last month, but in case this is the first time you have stumbled across my video, maybe you haven't seen how cool these are. Now, if you want to see how I made this, I have a full tutorial from start to finish, and I will have that linked below, because in this video I'm just working on different parts of mask making. I'm making 50 of these right now, so it will be pretty hard to see how to make one from start to finish, but I'll have that video linked below for you. I have all of the things prepped that I need to create that right now, and I will say I also made myself like a little blueprint diagram, and that just helped me remember all of the different pieces that I need to make this come together. And that was so helpful because I've been making these over the span of a month, and so it's hard to remember. So let me just show you the pieces, and then I'm just going to get into what I'm working on. So I have 50 of these. This is the base. I did these all in different prints that work well with Halloween, but you could do these for any theme, of course. I have a little divider card that goes in the center. I have the little watercolor images. This is going to give that illusion of the color changing. And then I have the acetate stamped pages, and I stamped these all like about a week ago, so they're all dry and ready to go. And so I have a few different stamped images, but I have a correlating acetate page for each one of the watercolor cards. And then, oh, let me just mention too, I also used this die that came from this Tim Holtz stamp set to cut out all of the centers, or the for the frames. So that actually was very good. That way I didn't have to try to cut super precise. And then I just have a little bit of decorating pieces that I need and all of my tools. So we're going to get right into it. I'm just kind of bringing you along. I've already started this process, and I already have many pieces that are done on to the next stage, but I'm going to kind of start from fresh here just to show you what I'm doing. So the first thing I need to do, so obviously I already stamped, watercolored, cut everything out. Next, I am going to take the slightest line of glue on the top. And I've been working in 3s or 5s. My glue might have dried up a little bit. Oh no. I've got a little needle here to poke through. I need the smallest bead of glue. And because a little too much glue comes out almost every time, I just set it for a minute, because I don't really want the glue going everywhere. So it gives it a second to kind of dry down. And if I get way too much, I will just kind of go to try to get as even of a line of glue as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if it's very wonky or uneven, it might just make things not line up very perfectly. Then I take my little acetate piece, and I have to line these up like as perfect as I can. So I try to start by the bottom, and then there's a few pieces on this particular image that I can look at to make sure they are perfectly lined up, such as the top of the ghost's little head, and there's a couple little like birds off into the distance. So I just make sure that all of those are lined up before I press down at the top. where the glue is. Oops. Okay. And then I'll just press at the top. I find that if I put glue on many more than 5, it will start to dry too much and I have to reapply it. So we don't want to do that. Just like that. Okay. Then I will set these aside. Sometimes I will have to go in and the acetate might be not perfectly trimmed around the edges and I'll have to trim that. So I'll do that if I need, but then I'll set those aside for now. Go on to 3 more. Now, since this is a video for you guys, I'm not going through all 50 with you. I'm just kind of showing you my process. But I would like to get through at least some from completely finished. So we will do that. All right. Smooth that out. And last one. And I'm just wiping that excess glue off because if you get it on the acetate, that also makes a big mess. I'm gonna just bring this, sometimes it's easier to have it be sideways for my eyes. Just making sure to press down all the way across so that it's completely glued. Actually, let's put that in the correct pile. So I'm starting by lining up the bottom. And I kind of have found a system that works for me just by going through and making a couple of these single, like from start to finish. And so that kind of helps me figure out how I need to divide the whole project into sections that I can then do over and over with each one, if I hope that makes sense. So instead of making one of these complete, I am going through the steps on all 50, although of course not for filming, but until I'm done. And then once I'm done, I move on to the next step with all 50, so on and so forth until I finish all 50. But having ADHD, there are times that I kind of get off that routine and will kind of mix it up. So I just know that it goes fastest and best if I do stick to that. So I try really hard. Okay, once we have our stack of acetate and watercolor card matched up and glued, I am taking some tickets. I'm using these as a little tab on the top, but of course, you know, I've made these different with different types of tabs. I just liked how they looked and it was easy for me to continue to reproduce kind of. If I notice a big amount of acetate on the top or side, I'll just cut that off as I see it. And then I'm just going to line the tickets front to back as the little tab, and I feel like these worked really cute. Then I am stapling just on each side and just barely at the top, because you really just want these to be attached just at the top, like a slight amount. So I put the ticket almost halfway down. Okay, I'm not going to continue just for the sake of the video, but I already have a stack here that are ready. So then let's pretend we're all done, all ready to go on to the next step. Then I have one of these completely done, and I feel like I accidentally put it in the middle so that I can remember what the best placement is so of the next piece, but you'll see. So the next piece is going to be a white divider. You'll notice I have designs here. That's just because I'm just using scraps that I had, so don't really pay attention to that part. I'm going to take one of the images, and since I am gluing at the top and they're all going to fit a tiny bit different, I think what I will do is place this on my divider where it's going to fit. And then I'm going to line this up with my window. And I've cut these dividers at a size that I can move, or I can like move around the placement a bit and have some wiggle room, if that makes sense. So right about there is going to be perfect. So then I'm just going to place a little bit of glue on the bottom of my divider so that it glues onto the back side. I felt like it moved, so I'm just double checking. And then I can actually fold that up. And then I shall be able to just fold these around and glue these tabs around onto the back. Whoops, see that sometimes this glue can be very messy. I guess maybe I need a different, for a while, this container that I'm using worked perfectly, but I don't know if it's probably because I let it get clogged all the time or something. I don't know, but anyways. Just trying to press down and not get glue everywhere. Okay. Now there's a few other steps that I can add, which to embellish, or yeah, there's a few different things, but for now, I think I'm going to stop at this point. I'm just going to show you then how this works. I think these are so fun. So there is that. Now, yeah, like I was saying, there's a few different little extra steps that can be taken to make sure that this doesn't get completely pulled out, but I think I'm gonna keep it like this. I'm sending this to Patreon members, and I think it might be fun for them to be able to take it all the way out, kind of see how it's made. That way, if they want to play around, because these are really fun to play with. So there's that. Okay, so I get excited after I make one, and I swear I will look at it for way too long, but I need to keep the momentum up. So let's do that again. I think once I get it down, it will be faster. So again, gonna place this on my divider and get the placement down. Typically, I am hoping that just the ticket is going to be peeking up over the edge. So, and if I made them all right, the image should fit pretty good in the window. Then I turn it over, not moving anything. And once again, I will just put a little bit of glue on my divider, which is getting glued to the back of the base. And then I don't really need to pre-fold my divider. At first I was pre-folding these, but that's just one extra step I don't need, which is why I like going through this a couple times to take out any steps that are not necessary. The reason is because when I was pre-folding those or scoring, sometimes it wouldn't fit exactly right, and then I would have to fold it again. So if I just glue it to the back, and then when I fold this up, it shall fold that divider piece too. And with some of the lighter cardstock, I might just have to work with it for a moment, but it should work just fine. And I can also use my little bone folder here, and that will help. Whoops. And then once again, these will get to fold over. And I did pre-score all of these, but I am kind of seeing now that I might not have really needed to do that because they would probably fold around pretty easy, but I'll just know that for next time. Let's hope that not too much glue comes out, even though that is still a lot. I just don't want it oozing on the inside, really. And then I'm going to put something heavy like a book on top of these. That way everything will stay nice and crisp. And before I send them off, I'm going to just try this out once and make sure that nothing got glued down. Then I'll make a little pile over here of the ones that are done. We'll do one more together. And then, yeah, if I'm going to do any extra decorating, like I said, I will just do that at the end as like an additional step. That way I don't have to have all of my supplies out for once, or at once. Come here. This is one of the haunted house stamps. I thought this one was really cute too. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good right there. There we go. Just make sure that that gets glued in place so it won't move. Score that. And then let's try to get the smallest amount of glue. There we go. I feel like if I just tip the bottle and don't squeeze it, then it will work a bit better. But I do find that having tools like good working glue bottles and good working scissors and things, it does help all of my steps go so much smoother. Okay, this one actually is feeling a bit tight, and what I'm going to do to release some of the slack is I probably just didn't cut this perfectly when I was cutting them out because, well, we are human. So let's see if that helped. Yes, there was just kind of too much slack. Yay! And if you'll notice, I used some florals in these, but like darker colors, and I really like how that looked. All right, guys, so that's going to be it. Just a little peek into my mass making. I'm going to get back to it because I have, what, 47 more of these to make. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.